Well, we are back again. It's been a couple of weeks. I was supposed to do more of these last week, and then ended up just getting filled with a cold, so I had no opportunity to actually do one of these. So honestly, it was the whole week of just I was just like I can't do a stream, sneezing, sniffing and snorting. So that's why I just spent. Well, what did I do last week? I spent most of the week replaying Liza P, so that's what I've been up to as of recently. I've kind of just been bored because I haven't had shit to do. I'm still kind of waiting for. Well, we've got Madam Web that we're going to talk about later, but I'm still waiting for that to sort of give me something to do. Going right, I can make a video with this. That's kind of what I've been waiting for. So I've just kind of been walking about, not really knowing what to do with myself. I mean, that's not really out of the ordinary for me. But yeah, we're back after a couple of weeks off. We got the old Madam Web that's out tomorrow. So we've got the first reactions from the critics, and it isn't sounding too good. So that's this film's going to be, I think, a lot of fun to rip apart. By the sounds of it. It really sounds like just nothing is really, I don't know, going to be coherent about this film. That's what I kind of get off the, and I mean, with the critics, usually if they don't like something, usually it's much, much fucking worse. They don't seem to be, they don't seem to be defending this one. I don't know if that just has something to do with, it's Sony Marvel, so we can criticize them. Whereas, if it's Disney Marvel, then it's a completely different story. Because they always seem to be very on the fence when it comes to pretty much anything Disney. They want to crit, but they won't quite go there. Whereas when it comes to Sony, it's just like, it's fucking terrible. I mean, they never seem to do that when it comes to Disney. So we got that to go over. There was a little bit of Star Wars news in terms of the Acolyte, because that's now got it's got a release window, not an exact date, but I suppose we'll talk about that a little bit. And I think the only other thing really is of course Deadpool 3. We had the trailer. When did the trailer? What was it? Sunday. So we had the trailer for that. I don't know if I've got too much to say about the trailer, to be honest. It was one of those trailers. I think I think the first few seconds I was like, this could be fun, and then you see the TVA and you're just like, that was kind of my reaction. I was just like, for fuck's sake, I cannot be doing with a TVA in any capacity. I mean, it already looks like a completely different TVA, which I don't know how that quite makes sense, considering there's only meant to be one TVA. They exist out of space and time. Who cares? I think with Deadpool, it's a film that all you can hope for is that it's funny. That's it. I don't know. Is it going to cause more damage to the MCU? But at this point, it's like, why even fucking waste your breath on, this doesn't meet up with this? Because they've long fucking forgotten about that. So we'll talk a bit about that trailer, but mainly it's about the sort of conversation around it. The whole, this is going to save the MCU. You just think to yourself, no, it's fucking not. It's like people don't see what comes after. When it comes to Deadpool 3, they think, all right, that's it, the MCU's back. It's like, well, no, because then we've got Agatha Harkness, the Disney Plus series. And then we've got, what we got? Captain America 4, that's going to be a fucking disaster. Based on all the reshoots. I mean, what they have to reshoot, the majority of it. It's like we've seen how that's went with Multiverse of Madness. I mean, it's the same thing that happens for all their projects. I imagine Deadpool 3 was probably the easiest to do, because I didn't hear too much about reshoots with that one. But I suppose we'll get into some of this anyway. We'll probably start off with Madam Web. We'll read through some of these critics' reactions, but it's just not looking good whatsoever. So let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, that should do us. Madam Web, first reactions after the premiere. The film is the fourth feature in Sony's so-called Spider-Man universe. I mean, can they even call what they've been doing a universe? You know, they've Venom. I still haven't seen any of the Venom films. Still haven't seen Morbius. That's really all there is. I've got very little interest in sort of most of the films that they've been putting out. You know, within Marvel stuff, at least in recent years. It's just like always. I mean, Kraven the Hunter, that's out later on this year, and it's like it's just a missed opportunity. You know, Kraven the Hunter cares and protects the wild, so it's just like so now he can't go down and hunt down Spider-Man. You know, you can't do storylines like that now, because you can't have it. Oh, he wouldn't dare kill, you know, a lion, but a person, you know, he's got no problem with that. So it's always sort of just, you know, you got Venom, you know, I still haven't got any interest in it. And then you have like Madam Web. It's just like, why the fuck do I care about Madam Web? You know, I'd rather just make Spider-Man films. I don't know why they haven't done that. You could easily get Sam Raimi back, do a Spider-Man 4, make you a load of money. Or even just continue what was happening with Tom Holland. Although now it's a bit sketchy because John Watts, that directed the first, he's gone. He's not doing the next one. So that's already like, oh, who the fuck are they going to get now? Because I think they ended up not so bad with John Watts. You know, I think he'd done a decent job with him. But I think he's got some film coming out at the end of the year. I think it's with George Clooney. It's, what is it, Wolves or something like that. So I'm quite interested in that. He's working on the, what do you do, Skeleton Crew for Star Wars, but, you know, wouldn't really hold out hope for that. But let's see what some of these reviews and that say. Madam Web was finally revealed to the public on Monday night. So they did they had their review embargo just today, the day before the film releases. You know, every time they do that, it's just like, oh, you must know it's really fucking shit if you want to, you know, leave it that long. Revealed to the public on Monday night after the Sony Marvel film held its premiere in LA. And the first reactions have already hit social media. So let's see what some of these are. So our first one is Morbius was better. So, you know, I haven't seen Morbius. I've heard it's awful. So if it's worse than that, yeah, that doesn't sound good right there. Madam Web is an embarrassing mess. You know, imagine they said this about Disney. Just, it never happens, does it? Talented stars wasted on probably the worst comic book movie I have ever seen. I mean, because did Dakota Johnson not fire an agent? And it's like, oh, is that because of this? Because I'm pretty sure some of the actors and actresses thought that this was the MCU. You know, I don't know why you'd want to be a part of the MCU, but that's what they were led to believe, not realizing no, it's Sony's Marvel universe. I'm willing to bet the reason why Dakota Johnson got rid of some of the people, or you know, her agent, it had to have been because of this. I mean, some of the things that she's been saying, it's like she's clearly like, you know, it is what it is. You know, she said, what was it recently? Recently it was something about, oh, it's like an AI film for your boyfriend, some shit like that. But there's not really anything there that's hyping up the film. A few weeks before that, it was, I don't know if it's going to be any good. I mean, it must be pretty obvious what it is, you know, what it is to them. Filled with atrocious dialogue that we've seen. My mother was murdered while she was researching spiders in the Amazon. What was that? Because I seen a clip going around where Dakota Johnson was asked about that, and the guy wouldn't just say, "Oh yeah, it's being memed on because it's bad dialogue." You know, that's what people are mocking about it. I mean, they put that in their trailer, fucking hell. Awkward editing and all around laughable structure. I sat there baffled, scene by scene. Someone approved this. The memes will redeem it. So yeah, it's starting to sound like, I'm pretty sure that's what I called it. It's the meme movie of 2024. I mean, it was the same with fucking Morbius. That was a meme movie as well. Madam Web is totally fine. There's really not a lot to say here. The leads are charming. I mean, the costumes are fucking horrible. I don't really know. Why is there loads of other Spider Women? I'm just confused. I thought we were watching Madam Web, but then you like see the trailers and it's like, oh no, there's about five or six of them jumping about in these costumes. So I obviously haven't read any comic book material on it, so I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Dakota Johnson is a witchy weirdo. The slasher Final Destination meets superheroes vibes are there. But there's just not a whole lot to it. Not a disaster, just kind of there. So that seems a bit more fence-sitting, but, you know, whatever. Madam Web is a clunky, poorly written, messy and sloppy movie, packed with some mediocre editing and performances. Even though it had solid cinematography and interesting concept, what about its concept was interesting? It was just, oh, it's someone that has spider powers and can see into the future. You know, in what ways I don't really see how that's unique. You know, it's not really different than a lot of stuff we've already seen. It just comes across more generic. It couldn't be saved due to its terrible execution. You know, again, it's just like, well, yeah. I was not, unfortunately, successfully entertained. Madam Web is a series of misses and wasted opportunities, and not just for obvious reasons. You know, part of me is just thinking it's just like they're going to pretend as though, oh, all these characters have been on an arc. You know, it's no different than just Disney Marvel sludge, where they, you know, you watch the Marvels, you get to the end of the film, and they go, oh, look, they've been on an arc. It's like, no, they haven't. You haven't done anything. So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting off this one. We're going to be sorely missing any actual characters. It's just going to be, here's this woman, she sees into the future, they prevent something, and then that's it. That's probably what... I mean, they'll probably waste a good 45 minutes on useless shit. I watched Madam Web, and it was bad. I tried to give it a chance, but sadly, the poor execution didn't help it. The cast were awesome, but the performances were definitely disappointing. You know, again, it's like I'm not really expecting performances to be stellar when you're not really given much material to actually work with. That's one of the... I don't understand why any actor wants to fucking work on these films. It's like you're not being tested, you're not being pushed. It's just turn up and say the line. You know, that's about as much thought that goes into it. Unfortunately for me, Madam Web lacked the spark it needed in nearly every department. Writing, acting, action sequences. I mean, it's all CGI, from what I understand. There are a few good moments with an excellent overall pacing, but geez, this was hard to get through. I don't see how it was excellent pacing if it was a slog to get through. Madam Web is yet another disappointing entry into the Sony universe. Dakota Johnson is a standout, but unfortunately that's not the case for the rest of the cast. Not as bad as I expected it to be, but sadly falls short of what could have been a decent movie. A 2 out of 5. I don't get the rating in 5. It's like you're not giving yourself room. A lot of room to work with there. Madam Web exceeds expectations. Some of the dialogue is cheesy as fuck. Some heavy-handed product placement. I mean, I wonder if they're gonna beat out Shazam 2, where they do a Skittles advert in the middle of the film. They have this little girl throw some Skittles and go, "Oh, taste the rainbow." I wonder if we're gonna get something like that, because I'm not. I get a laugh out of it, and probably could have been tidied up a bit more. The cast really worked magic with what they had. Their chemistry is a lot of fun, and the suits look great. Again, I'm just, I don't know. There's not really. They just look cheap suits. Although we had a good look at actually Madam Web's rather than the others, because the only one that comes to mind is I think it's Sydney Sweeney's costume, and that looks, it looks like gimp gear. That's kind of what it looks like. So that's kind of most of what you're getting. There's some, I don't know, there's some just in the middle. It's not really anything that's overly positive. The majority of them are just negative. But again, I don't know I don't think anyone's going into Madam Web expecting a Scorsese or no one's expecting that. Although some of them are like, I don't really get the interesting concept part. It's like there's not really anything unique about them. It's just doing damage to the Spider-Man IP. That's about it. But yeah, I don't understand this obsession with, we've got to do this Spider-Man thing, and it's nothing to do with, whether it's the Miles Morales stuff or Madam Web. It's like, yeah, who the fuck cares? Well, I suppose people care about the Across the Spider-Verse films. I still haven't seen them. I just haven't had much interest in them. But it's always just, let's do something that how about we just do fucking Spider-Man, and that will do. I don't know why Sony wouldn't just focus on, they haven't set up a new deal with Disney for, sort of splitting the load for, Spider-Man films. So I really don't understand why you just go, listen, Disney, fuck off over there. We're going to make just another few Spider-Man films. Completely cut you out. I don't know why they don't just do that. Just focus, because there definitely seems to be more of a focus on getting them, like, getting them to somewhat quality. Whereas with the other ones, whether it's Madam Web, whether it's Venom, like all these ones seem to be just like, just put it out just because. We're not really too worried about them. There's not really much of a focus on them. So I think that's why you just end up with this, because they're not really, it's just something to do, I guess. That's kind of the impression I get from most of these Sony Marvel films. But yeah, I'm quite interested to see how this does at the box office. I mean, I think it's going to do fucking poorly. I would say, well, it's already predicted to do worse than Morbius. And, every time it's just like, why is anyone confused by that? It's just, it's fucking called Madam Web. Most people are like, who the fuck's that? Who is that? That's the reaction from most people. So it's like, there's not going to be a lot of interest from the get-go just based on that. Whereas if it's, Spider-Man, whether it's a character that people that don't read comic books know, it's like, you're going to do a lot better there. But that gets us through the Madam Web stuff. Out tomorrow for Valentine's Day. I don't know who's taking their fucking girlfriend or wife to see Madam Web on Valentine's Day. I don't even get why it's coming out on Valentine's Day anyway. It's not a romance film, is it? So I don't know why that's the marketing. I mean, it kind of lines up with what some of the marketing has been, because there was one marketing campaign from Dakota Johnson where she was given out fuck me eyes. You know, you're gonna come twice. You're gonna come and see it twice. I mean, they might as well rely on that. That kind of got me hyped up for it. You know, just with coming on with a sexy voice, going, "Oh, you're gonna come and see it twice." I was like, "Fucking right, I am." But I suppose we'll get into a bit of the. Well, I was going to say Daredevil then. Deadpool. Let me see. Because we're not going to be going too long anyway. It's going to be a relatively short one, so we'll go over Deadpool. I'm not really going to bother too much going over the trailer. I just, you know, again, it's. I suppose the only thing about the trailer is I appreciate that they haven't just wasted all the jokes. You know, I kind of that's why. You know, sometimes they do that, whether it is a comedy. Well, it happens a lot with comedies, at least these days, where they give away all the funny jokes. So by the time you see the film, it's like, oh, you haven't got anything else. You got no other jokes. So I think they're kind of better off in that doing it in that way. They don't really give a lot away in, you know, what's going to happen. You know, again, it's just like, I don't know how much it being attached to Disney is going to affect it. You know, we haven't really got anything to worry about in terms of its rating. You know, it doesn't seem like they're going to be holding back, you know, at least in terms of some things. I suppose, I think a lot of people have been saying it's basically Deadpool kills the MCU. That could be what it is. You know, it's quite hard to tell. But, you know, it's, as I say, it's like, all you can really hope for, all you can really hope for is just something that's funny. That's it. You know, in terms of actually making any fucking sense, I highly doubt it. That's the one thing I'm doubtful about. I reckon it's probably going to deal more damage to the MCU. That's why I think it seems like the type of film you kind of want to keep separate from, you know, your main continuity. But you know, they've already kind of dealt blows with this type of stuff, although not really with She-Hulk, with the breaking the fourth wall, and going to talk to a Kevin Feige robot. You know, the amount of fucking damage you deal by doing that. So that's, I don't know why. I hope that they've just made it its own separate thing. But with most of this trailer, it was like, you know, I appreciated the pegging joke. I laughed at that. And then it's just, you see the TVA, and you're just like, you know, why are we doing that? But to be honest, they look a bit better than what we've seen in Loki, because the TVA are fucking nonsensical. Make no sense. Whereas this seems to be a different TVA. It seems to be a TVA with a budget. That's kind of the impression I get. But it seems like he just gets pulled out and then goes on some journey, ends up with Wolverine somehow. I don't really know. You know, they definitely hide quite a bit. But I suppose this is really only the teaser, so you're going to get very, very little on, you know, context of what's going to be happening in it. The one thing I did notice sort of on the second viewing was the, you know, you've got like the, well, to be honest, there was this scene here where I was like, is that not Age of Ultron? See, because it is the start of that film, I think, where you've got them all in, what, they in Siberia, something like that. And then it's the big scene where there's a, you know, shootout going on. So I don't know if that's what that's supposed to be. And then you do have the 20th Century Fox, like, fucking, you know, logo there. But yeah, other than that, I haven't got a lot to say about this Deadpool trailer. Because still, it's just in the back of your mind, it's like, oh, it's going to be fucking shitting up. But yeah, that's, you know, again, it was just, I'd like that. That was funny. And then it's the TVA, and you're like, why are we connecting it to fucking those twats? But I guess we will see. But the sort of main conversation that I did want to talk about that was going on, around this was the sort of, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you had Matthew Vaughn saying, "Oh, Deadpool 3, this will save the MCU," and it's just like, shut the fuck up. No, it won't. I don't. Matthew Vaughn's been a shit take machine recently, but that, I don't even know why Marvel would believe that, or why anyone would. That's the constant question. Will this save the MCU? It's like, no. It's an obvious no. The only way this saves the MCU is if the next films and TV shows are fucking bangers. If that ain't the case, no, it's not saved. It's still in the same position. They just earned a bit more money with this one. Whereas the next film is Captain America 4. Not going to make money. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be terrible. So it's like, so how does this save anything? It doesn't. It just gives something that people like, and then, oh, right, we're moving on now. That's all you've got. All right, bye, Marvel. That's what the case is. That's what's going to happen. I can't remember if they said this stuff with No Way Home. I don't believe they did. But that's seems to be what people are saying. So then you have, you've had, you've always got coping going on. People can't accept what a disaster Marvel is. What it's been since Endgame. It's been fucking awful. Awful film after awful film. Awful TV show after awful TV show. Losing interest, losing money. And you've still got people going, the MCU has never been in trouble. It's like, yes, it has. Have you not been paying attention? Have you not been paying attention to the box office? The Marvels lost loads of money. Didn't even make its budget back. $206 million, I want to say. So that's right there, right? This fucking over for that. That was a sequel to $1 billion film. Nobody turned up for it. Before that, you have Ant-Man Quantumania. That didn't make any profit. The only thing that they've had is Guardians 3. That's the only thing they've had they've done not too bad on. And that's mainly just because it's usually with the it's its own separate thing. It doesn't really have much of a connection to the MCU as a whole. But yeah, you've got tweets like this saying, "I'm annoyed at all the this will save the MCU." I know people that say that are delusional. Or this is the lifeline they needed. Again, it's I don't know how anyone can see it as a lifeline. It's like, even if this film, even if we're to assume this film's gonna be, great. After that, again, you got Agatha. Then you've got Captain America 4. Then you've got Blade. Maybe there'll be interest for that. I highly doubt it, because it sounds like a fucking mess. So it's like, you have to look at what comes after it. It's like, we already know that Marvel don't know how to fix what's wrong. They don't realize that the biggest problem they have is the writing. That is the foundational problem that they have. But instead of realizing that, they're just constantly like, maybe we need Doctor Doom. Maybe that will change it. It's like, no, that's not the fucking issue. You can bring in Doctor Doom. You can bring in whoever. If they're writing shit, it doesn't change anything. You're just going to have a more recognizable villain written shitly. That's all you're going to have. The MCU has never been in trouble. Never been in trouble. The amount of cope. I don't know who's still standing by the MCU at this point. I mean, it just has to be clapping seals, rather, that don't really think about anything that they watch. You just got to have that consumer mindset. That seems to be what this guy has. The critical and audience reception is pretty much the same. No, it isn't. I don't know how you can say that. I mean, for a lot of the films, the reception, from the critics at least, from most people, whether it's on YouTube, not so much. The internet just decided, Marvel decided that it fell off after... No, it fell off at Endgame. You know, Endgame is a bad film. It just is. By repeating it excessively. So, yeah, it's just the amount of cope just to try and make it seem like this isn't just fucking dead. You know, again, it's like you're going to have this Deadpool film. Maybe it's good, maybe it isn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't really change anything. Because they haven't figured out. You know, again, maybe they'd have an opportunity, but when you've got like Fantastic Four, but most people just expected it to not be very good. You know, I think their time's done. It's over. They done themselves in by not really giving a shit. You know, that's really they just thought, oh, we're the studio that made $2 billion with, you know, Avengers films. So that's why there hasn't been a focus on any type of quality, because they've just thought, people will show up, you know, who the fuck cares? You know, that's the thinking that has got them where they are. So yeah, there's really no hope for that. But yeah, it's, you know, Deadpool 3 and then right back to just how it was. I'm still just waiting for something to come along and go, right, this is what the focus is on now. You know, I've still been kind of betting on video game adaptations. You know, I think most of them are probably going to be terrible, but that seems to be where it's going to go. And to be honest, I'd rather that, because then at least there's differences then. It's not just same thing, not trying anything new, not coming up with new ideas or concepts. At least when it with video games, it's like you've got a bit more variety there. But I mean, well, the next one on the way, well, Halo Season 2's out. I haven't heard good things about that. I only watched the first 2 episodes of the first season, and then I was like, fuck this. So, yeah, that's... majority of them are just going to be terrible. I think the past few years, all there's really been is The Last of Us and Arcane, and I suppose the Mario film. At least, you know, had a lot of interest on it. I can't really speak to, you know, its quality, because I still haven't seen it. So that's seems to me like that's the way it's going. But again, it's like after Halo Season 2, we've then got Fallout, which has the writer from Captain Marvel as, you know, the head writer of that series. So it's like, yeah, shit. It's going to be shit. But I guess we will see on that. But I mean, if you look at the list of video game adaptations on its way, it's fucking endless. It's like, you know, 50, 60 different TV shows and films, all adapted from video games. So it's that seems to be where the focus is now being, you know, drawn to. But, you know, it's as I say, it's like, I think you're going to end up with more of them terrible than good. That's probably just going to be the ratio, because unfortunately they haven't thought to maybe change the writers that they employ. They've just kept going, oh, they worked on some shit Marvel film, let's get them. You know, they're perfect for the job, for a Fallout TV series. But yeah, I think with that, it's like, yeah, Marvel is, you know, they've done it to themselves. There's not really any interest anymore. But that will do us on the subject of Marvel. I just wanted to kind of go over that briefly. I suppose the only other thing I had, because we'll probably be finishing up in like the next 10 minutes or so. Let me see. So, yeah, the other thing I was going to sort of mention was one of the most exciting upcoming Star Wars projects, the Acolyte. Is that the most exciting upcoming Star Wars projects? Has a reported release window, and it's very soon. So apparently this window is the summer of 2024. So I would probably assume, because I think they release a lot of their shows, was it round up like July? That seems probably when this will come out. You know, about June, July, maybe August. Because I believe that was Ahsoka, but that came out, Ahsoka last year came out in August, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's sort of round about then. But this kind of just confirms that they're, you know, moving ahead with the Acolyte. Although I didn't really expect them to not release it. I think they've had it done for quite a while. It's not going to be any good. I think with, you know, I'm very doubtful. You know, I just get the feeling from it that it's essentially just Batwoman. It's Batwoman set in the Star Wars universe. That seems like the type of, you know, the type of writing quality that we'd be getting, considering it's Leslie Headland. It's like, you know, what the fuck has she done? What has she done to warrant being given a Star Wars show? You know, absolutely nothing. You know, what has she actually done? Other than fed people to Harvey Weinstein. You know, other than that, you know, what has she actually done? What, she done a play? Done a play. You know, you're now given Star Wars project, and it's just like everything that we've heard about it. I mean, you just have to look at the Star Wars Celebration when they announced it last year. The amount of embarrassing cringe that you had the cast and the, you know, creators talking about it. Just, it's not really got anything going for it. You know, it's supposed to center on, well, it says centers on a Jedi, her former master investigating a string of crimes, which leads them to encountering sinister forces. You know, I'm pretty sure I thought the last time we heard about it was more of a focus on, you know, the Sith. Although it's just like, you know, we've seen what they've done with Sith characters before. You know, I kind of have to look at the example of Reva, where she's a horrible piece of shit, and then at the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're like, oh, she's actually a good guy. It's like, no, she's not. She's evil. So that's probably what we're gonna get here. Is they're gonna have a load of Sith women running about, and then they're somehow just gonna be good by the end of the show. That's it. It seems like the Acolyte is going to be a very predictable show. You know, it's not going to be any different from what else Star Wars has been releasing. No different from Ahsoka. No different from Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know, just same shit, different day. But to be honest, I'm somewhat excited for it, because I'm just, some of this stuff is just like a really good laugh just to fucking rip the piss out of, because they make it so easy. They do make it so fucking easy. So that's on its way. And I think the only other thing that I will mention, just because I seen it, and I think we talked about it the previous stream that I'd done, so I thought we should mention it. The Arkham Knight now has more players than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on Steam. That's very embarrassing, but expected. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that game. Because I didn't play it, but I watched. I believe I watched Mauler stream it. So I seen you know, the entire story in its context. Oh, that was pretty rough. That was fucking horrible. I'm so glad, because I think when this game was first announced, I was kind of interested, because I was like, oh, Rocksteady, you know, they're doing their next project. And then it was the closer we got to it, you start to realize what it was. You know, it's a live service game. I mean, even in the streams I watch, you just get disconnected randomly. You have to start the fucking mission again, and it's like, you know, what is the point in that? But it just seems like a game that they were just like, right, let's just put it out. Fuck it, we'll make some money on it. Here, come and buy this. Pay for this and pay for this. I don't know what people are interested in that type of gameplay. You know, the gameplay of the Suicide Squad, it's so fucking generic and sludgy. I don't know why anyone would be interested in that type of gameplay. It just baffles me, because you have had some people defending it. So even just from its gameplay, I mean, you look at all the boss fights. Every boss fight is the same. Oh, just shoot Batman. Oh, just shoot Green Lantern. You know, that's all it is. Just over and over and over, repetitive gameplay. You know, they give you busy work to make it seem like you're doing something when you're actually not. You know, you have like missions where, oh, you've got to protect the car until we get to this destination. So you just go around shooting things. Then you get to the boss fights. Oh, you just shoot things. You know, that's all there is to it. Then you've got the fucking UI, which is absolutely atrocious that UIs are being made like that in 2024. You know, I don't know why they want to make it. It's like you can't fucking see nothing. Even the way like the city is sort of textured, it's like everything is just mind-numbing. You know, it's all neon lights and bright flashes. And, oh, you've got low health, so we're going to make sure you can't see the fucking screen. So even just from its gameplay and just, you know, what it looks like, fucking terrible. It looks awful. And then you just have the story side of it where it's like, we're gonna murder Batman, and Harley Quinn is gonna do it. And then we're gonna pretend like we actually gave a shit that Kevin Conroy, you know, passed away. And then it's like, because it's quite funny the way they do it. You know, the game ends, you know, the person, because it was just streams that I was watching. They kill kill Brainiac, and then it turns out, oh, you've actually got to kill him 12 more times. I think that's like content after you've finished, something like that. So then the game ends. There's a little, you know, in memoriam to Kevin Conroy, and then it just jumps back to the game. You know, you've unlocked this, and you've just got, you know, whatever character you pick to play as, saying some fucking nonsense. It's really fucking strange. But I'm so glad I didn't buy that game, because it looked a fucking chore to get through. You know, especially like because none of the characters, even when you're just, you know, not even doing a mission or in a cutscene, you just got yammering going on constantly. Like they cannot let you just go, all right, it's nice and silent now. So I know Harley Quinn has got to make some shit joke for the 100th time. But yeah, I think it definitely has put me on the you know, more on the side of, can we just kill Harley Quinn? Can Harley Quinn just fuck off? You know, I'm really hoping when the Joker 2 comes out that they actually do something different with Harley Quinn. You know, instead of what they've continued to do. You know, I hope, you know, again, I don't really see Todd Phillips doing, you know, what we've seen in like Suicide Squad or anything like that with Harley Quinn. I think it will be a bit more normal. It's not going to be fucking annoying, squeaky shit jokes. You know, it's not going to be any of that. So yeah, that was just a terrible game, but you know, I'm glad to see that there's no fucking interest in it. Because it is just like, I think it was one of those first games that I've seen where I'm just like, is this really, you know, is this really the fucking way that gaming's going? Because you know, I don't want a fucking part of it. I really don't. But yeah, that's not looking so good for that. I thought we might as well mention it. You know, I suppose I can kind of talk about it because I have seen the stream, so I know what happens in it. You know, you know, you get the impression of the gameplay. You know, I can't say exclusively or confidently, you know, the ins and outs of the gameplay. But it did not look fun to play. But I think that will probably finish us off there. Those were only the sorts of things I wanted to go over. Just wanted to make this a quick one. Right now, I'm trying to think of what I've got coming up, because I still haven't started videos up yet. I will put yet on there because there's still a chance that very soon you'll start seeing videos come back. You know, at least maybe I'm not really going to promise anything because it's, you know, you promise things, and at least when it comes to me, I end up not fucking doing it. The amount of things I promise, and then the time comes, I'm like, oh, I can't be fucked. I can't be bothered. But you know, I guess I probably would have started it back up last week, but was that just having a cold? It's like just sneezing every couple of minutes. I was not. Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to fucking listen to me doing that. But soon enough, I'm pretty sure there'll be. You know, again, it's just figuring out what do I want to cover. You know, there's certain things I just kind of got bored of covering, and I think that's the main thing that just led to me fucking losing interest. So it's kind of figuring out, right, what types of things do I want to cover. But I guess we'll see on that front. In terms of streams, well, what we got coming up? Well, Madam Web's out tomorrow, so I'm going to try and get all my notes for it, and then I think I'm going to do the breakdown for Madam Web on Sunday, although there is a chance that I'll do it Saturday. A very slim chance. It's going to depend how knackered I am, because I'm up working very early on Saturday morning, so it depends how much sleep I get, and because I don't want to sit here fucking falling asleep. So there is a slim chance I'll do it Saturday, but it's most likely going to be Sunday. Breaking that down. I don't know how long it's going to take to break that one down. I suppose I have to see fucking how bad it is. You know, if it's every scene has something badly done in it, it's going to take a while. But yeah, so I'm pretty much going to get all my notes together on that, hopefully by Thursday. Then I'm going to start scripting a video for my other channel. Just so I want to try and get a quick turnaround for that one. Because even on that channel, so far, it's still only got the one video on it. So I'm hoping to get something else on it. But again, it's just, I'm trying not to just fill it with everything. The other channel that I've got. So I'm just kind of restricting it to sort of more, I suppose, long form, you know, analysis, I guess is the word. So that's kind of my plan for that. So I will be back Saturday or Sunday. I will just have to wait and see. But I will finish off there, and I'll probably be back doing this. I don't think I'm going to have another chance this week. I've just ended up with a fucking busy week this week. So I think we'll probably do another one of these, I don't know, probably Monday or Tuesday next week. We will just have to wait and see. But I will finish off there, and I will see you on the next one.